Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Unpopular Review. Top five. Top five, top five, top five, top five, top five. And this time we're talking, how is Mike Knox and Z the Silent on this background when neither one of them are here? Get their ass up.
Technical difficulty there.
Yeah, technical difficulties. There you go. All right. Top five cinematic matches of all time. Everybody knows most of the cinematic matches happened during the pandemic era as a way to still bring entertainment for you, but at the same time being safe due to the coronavirus. And we had some matches that, some people are still memorable. Still memorable with some people today. We're going to talk about it right here, right now, tonight. I'm the exec consultant, joined today by none other than Bad Guy Jack. Bad Guy Jack, how you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm well. I'm excited about when you came with this concept, right? And you said, "Hey, man, let's do a top five cinematic matches." And I was like, I know a few matches, and I had to look up some because there's been a few. You mentioned the COVID era, and they had a bunch of cinematic matches, but there've been matches way even beforehand. And I had to look back, and I said, there's some matches I remember. So I look forward to exchanging my list with you and you guys in the chat. So let's do it.
I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of the same matches because even though there's enough to do a top five, realistically, it wasn't that many to do. So it was a little bit tougher. It's not like SummerSlam main events where there's been like 36, 37, something like that. But I'm still interested to talk about it. Let's go ahead. We'll start off with you, Bad Guy Jack. What is your number five?
So my number five, let's go and jump right into it. That's not my number five. When I went to my number five, when I was sitting there thinking, man, what's my list going to look like? What my list is going to look like? I knew what my 1, 2 was going to look like, but I said, what's it going to be my 3, 4, 5? And I got to go with number five. Just jump right into it. The the Bray Wyatt match. I'm sorry, I forgot the whole entire name.
Firefly Funhouse.
You know what? I took notes, and I should do that. The Firefly Funhouse match. It was WrestleMania COVID. I forgot what number it is, so please forgive me.
36.
Yes, 36. They had to make up for. WrestleMania was supposed to be big that year. They were supposed to be out there. Was it Florida? Was it Florida?
It was supposed to be in Tampa.
Right. And it was supposed to be there, and it was 2020. 2020 was a crazy year. And they had to come up with a whole nother different concept of WrestleMania. They still wanted to do WrestleMania. They had their traditional matches, and they did this. John Cena against The Fiend. This match was just wild. This was crazy. There's a lot of things I even now, I still don't even know what the hell I was watching in April of 2020. But my number five, just to jump into it real quick, this is my number five.
It's amazing to think about it. Yeah, WrestleMania 36, the WrestleMania was canceled not canceled, but WrestleMania changed venue, so to speak, about 3 weeks. They held on before. They held on so hard to try and still have WrestleMania in Tampa, but it was not budging because the coronavirus was getting worse and worse. So they ended up taping it at the Performance Center, which I was just talking to Bad Guy Jack about 5 minutes ago. It was 10 minutes down the road for me. They ended up taping it in Orlando over the course of a week. Scheduling people to come in certain times. It was really, really chaotic. And I remember watching it after I went out with my mask and everything, getting some pizza to still have a WrestleMania party. And if I remember correctly, I think myself and a few of the guys from UPR at the time, we had like a little watch party. We watched it. It was actually very, very enjoyable. And I commended them. I have not gone back and watched a WrestleMania ever. Even when I'm doing my WrestleMania, because I usually try to do a WrestleMania marathon. And I don't watch 36, but
that's hard. It's hard to watch it.
Hard to watch it because of how things were. I could watch something that was in the Thunderdome, but it would be hard for me to watch it then because it was empty crowd and they were just starting off everything. But I remember watching it and I remember enjoying it and think it was actually a really good WrestleMania and what was needed for that time. And the Firefly Funhouse is no exception to it. It was really weird. But people were talking about it after because they were entertained by it. They threw out and did the best that they could for what they had, and they did a damn good job. It almost made my top five, but it did not.
No, and I just wanted to add real quick. You mentioned how weird it is, and I totally, utterly agree. And you added a lot more sauce to it than I did. But I did want to throw out because it was a memorable. I felt like it was a meme for a time period with Titus O'Neil, and he said, "I don't know what the hell I just watched." So I just wanted to add that piece, and also totally agree on everything you said. They had to do what they had to do, and it was different. It was different. Um, but I'm interested in hearing what is your top five, EC?
My top five
Or number
is.
five. I'm sorry. Let's say that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my number five is actually before the COVID area. It was piggyback off another match that happened that we'll probably talk about later, most likely. But it was the Wyatt Family compound match between the New Day and the Wyatt Family. These two had a feud in 2016 in the summer that a lot of people did not like. They could not stand it. Me personally, I love this feud. I thought it was a fantastic feud that was not taken too seriously. It was a lot of fun, but still had the right amount of seriousness to it. As Xavier Woods was going around acting like he was scared of Bray Wyatt before ultimately breaking out of the trance that he was in. They had the final match at Backlash in 2016, which Mike will always talk about because I always mention these events, and I say, guess what? I was there. And I thought it was a fun match. But this match, of course, was taped outside. Wyatt Family compound match, I actually enjoyed it. I think the New Day did what they had to do in this match because the New Day are always very entertaining. They're going to try to make you laugh and have a good time. They never take themselves too seriously, but they do always give you that hint of take us seriously because we are a multi-time tag champ. Speaking of New Day, shout out to them for returning on Monday Night Raw. I won't say I forgot about them because you'll never forget about the New Day.
No.
But I didn't have any idea when they were coming back. So they were out of my mind as a possible time to come back. So when I heard the music, I did one of my unceremoniously, I did mark out, and I don't mark out. But I did mark out because it's like, hey, I'm happy to see the New Day. The New Day, arguably one of the greatest factions of all time, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, that will not get their credit.
Top five. No, but I feel like, but I disagree to that. I think people are starting to really give them their flowers before it's, to hang it up and stuff like that. I mean, there's been a lot of people, when you look at a list, and everyone's list is subjective, like our list is subjective, right? Mm-hmm. But I see a lot of people who have them in their top fives. New Day is so influential. So I do believe, yes, very, and also too, I wanted to add, and it's interesting that you added this match, right? Mm-hmm. So some that I also think that they did in this match was give New Day a toughness because New Day was just silly. They were goofy. It was fun. So there was even a spot in that not that match, but setting up for the match where Big E and Kofi's not taking it serious, and Xavier's like, "This is the Wyatt family. They could eat us alive." There's this. I thought it added layers to them, and I thought that was really cool. What's going on, Crazy Joe?
Very, very good. And to counteract what I said earlier, I was like, I agree with them. They, to get a lot of the top five in their tag team stuff like that. But I'm talking about when I mean influential, when you go to a arena for a WWE show, or actually almost any show, you're sure to hear a woo, and you're sure to hear a New Day Rocks clap chant. Every single time I go to a wrestling event in WWE for Raw or SmackDown, what have you, I always get the woo. Sometimes you'll get some whats. A lot of times you'll get some whats. Right now, lately, the thing is, before I used to get when I went to SummerSlam 2018, I kept getting Adam Cole Bebe. But what's always going to stand the test of time, because I don't hear Adam Cole Bebe like that anymore, but what's always going to stand the test of time is just like woos. Will outlive them. And it's just phenomenal to see. I did like this match between the Wyatt family and the New Day.
Fantastic. That's great. And we jump into our number four. Number four for me, when I was once again looking at this list of other matches, and I was like, man, what am I going to do on this list? I wanted to make sure that I got this exactly correct because I could just say the match, but I don't have the exact name. But I do, for my number four, I got to go with Tag Team Apocalypto. It was total nonstop deletion. We had the Hardys going against DK. I thought this match, this was the sequel to the final deletion. That final deletion match did, I want to say big numbers. People were talking. Impact was not being spoken about for a period of time, and I thought they really put eyes on him. And this match, not as good as the original, but I thought it was fun. You had the Hardys viewed in a different way. It was almost I want to say like a horror base, but it was just different. Like it was just really, really different. The Pond of Reincarnation and seeing I marked out. I was a WCW kid, right? And hey, I marked out when Shane Helms, he gets kicked into the pond, or somehow he falls into the pond, and then he does the 3 count thing, and he's with now he's God, I can't think of his name. He's the one with the stomp. Oh, Cameron Grimes. I forget who his partner was at the time. And they did the 3 count thing, and then he's the hurricane, and he's flying in the air. It was wild. It was crazy. And even in that picture, they make a reference talking about Triple H. Say, even I've learned how to shovel from the man with 3H or something like that. I forget the exact quote, but I thought that was really cool. So I'm gonna go with this. I'm thinking of Jeff Hardy. He gets stabbed. That's like, he gets stabbed. That's just I don't know what I'm watching, but I kept watching. So I gotta go with number 4, Apocalypto, total nonstop deletion.
Good pick. I'm actually going to go to something. It's not a WWE. I'm going to go to AEW. Also, not that you were WWE, you were Impact Wrestling, but I'm going to AEW. AEW, I thought had a very good match at AEW Revolution during the pandemic era, involving one Sting and Darby Allin. Sting and Darby Allin versus none other than Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. I just was against this match from the get-go, and it actually exceeded my expectations. I thought that was good. I actually think it's possibly one week I might switch it to a top 3. That's how good I like this match, and that's how fantastic I thought this match was. I thought it at the time Sting wasn't wrestling that much, and I saw as he was getting older, I saw this as a way to actually really give you Sting without giving you Sting. And even though Sting is on record saying this match has took a toll on him, it was just an entertaining match that I really enjoy. And I haven't watched it since. Another one I haven't watched since. However, I could watch this again because it was that entertaining. My number 4 is AEW Revolution in that tag team match.
That's a really good pick. I didn't even think about this. So when you first said AEW, I immediately thought about the Stampede match. But I thought, what made this match so great is we got Sting. I don't know how many people like Sting. I love Sting. He's one of my faves. And getting to see him in a way where he could still do the stuff, and it's interesting that you said that, because I didn't even realize that he was still banged up. I thought he's well protected, which I'm sure he was. Let me reframe that. Well protected, but I didn't know he was banged up. Is my point. Just to jump right into the thing. So great pick for your number 4. Let's go into number 3. We were talking about the pandemic era. We're talking about 2020. I know you guys don't want to hear about 2020 anymore. This guy was just talking about he had people over and they had to wear masks. I had to watch this thing with my friends through the phone. Thank God for technology. But 2020, I want to go with, and I didn't even think this was a cinematic match, but it was classified as one. I'm going to go with Money in the Bank 2020. This was a really fun match, and it kept the traditional Money in the Bank stuff, but it was different. It was like Mission Impossible, if you will. These guys going through the building, the men and the women, they're all just running up, and there was a lot of fun spots. One of my favorite spots there, I watched this back with my brother at the time, and there was a spot where I think Paul Heyman spilled some food on Otis. Otis got upset, and the way he threw that food at Paul Heyman, you knew he threw it. Looked like full force. So I always thought that was hilarious. There was a lot of fun. Baron Corbin killed 2 people. So, and maybe that's why his push has been taken down, because they can't push murderers. But I thought this was fun. I thought this was great, and even the outcome. I think I had my thoughts on Oscar winning. I might have had Shayna Baszler. I forget, but I had no idea. I never thought Otis would win. So Otis winning threw me off. And we do this poll. What's an action-packed movie in the 80s? Drew, thank you for that information, Charmaine. But we do a poll.
Have you ever watched the old? Speaking of the 80s, you ever watched this old show on VH1 called Pop-Up Video?
I remember that.
Right.
Oh, Lord.
So I feel like. I'm just saying. Here's some information. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was great. I used to love that. No, it'd be great. It'd be like, this was directed in one view. I used to love that. I used to like that. No,
they should actually have those more.
I think they try to bring it back for a period, and I don't know. I don't think it. But it did work.
It was fun. I did enjoy it. I know. In some stuff that you can download, or I know some DVD versions or Blu-ray versions of stuff, they say you can have special commentary, which gives you fun facts, and I never do it, but it's just interesting to think about. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Charmaine.
All great. No, it was cool to talk about Pop-Up Video. But yeah, I didn't think. No, I was just saying that we have polls with us, the UPR host, and I don't know if anyone picked Otis, but Otis winning, yeah, I was really annoyed. But that's my
Would have
number three.
surprised a lot of people winning that because I think you, myself, and maybe Katrina actually reviewed that Money in the
Mhm.
Bank after it happened because I think I was still working in the hotel. But I
I
remember
thought he was working at a cafeteria. I remember he used to be like, yeah, I
it was
remember when you
it
used
was
to.
next to it. It was during the pandemic, so I was a front desk agent and I was always working the second shift until
Uh,
like 11 o'clock at midnight, and I would get on like right there because nobody hardly ever showed up because of
oh,
the
that used to
pandemic.
be. No, I remember you used to turn the. I remember. I remember
Yeah,
the early years. But
time
go ahead. I'm
flies.
sorry.
Time flies. But yeah, it was a good
Flies so
time.
much.
I hated that match. I remember that. I remember
Wow.
I shat on that pay per view and I shat on that match. I
What made you
hated
hate it?
everything about that because the Money in the Bank ladder match, in my opinion, needs to be a Money in the Bank ladder match. It needs to be a ladder match. I didn't want to see all the extra stuff to happen. I felt like that could have been a different kind of match, but I didn't need to see them going all through the building. It was nice to see this behind the scenes of the WWE headquarters. They had some nice fun scenes. I will admit that, but the ladder match itself, it should have been a ladder match, and I was disappointed by that. And Baron Corbin killing two people is what I do remember about it because it's like he straight up murdered them. And I said, Rey Mysterio,
I murdered him.
Rey Mysterio had the worst year of his life in 2020. He got murdered. His eye got taken out, not once but twice. It was a time. It was a rough time for him. And Aleister Black too. You know, his eye still hasn't recovered.
No, he hasn't.
So yeah,
No, it hasn't.
interesting time. But I wasn't a fan of the Money in the Bank ladder match. But still, I had to say it's a very good pick. My number three is going to be actually it's a match that some people might disagree with as being a cinematic match. I think it was simply because of the look at the ending. But it's your choice. It's my pick. And that's Halftime Heat from 1999 between The Rock and Mankind in an empty arena during the Super Bowl of that year. People still talk about that match. People still remember that match. They try to recreate a Halftime Heat, ironically, in 2020. Right before the pandemic, they did a Halftime Heat.
Yeah, NXT. Yeah.
NXT
I
did
didn't think about that. Yeah.
at the Performance Center, but this was the blueprint, and it was done very well. And it surprised me because Rock lost. I didn't think Rock was going to lose, but he did. Mankind won the World Championship at Halftime Heat. Is my number three. Remember Lana won when she watched the pay-per-view that Big Daddy Cool was happy that he was happy. Okay. Oh shit! This was a great moment in my childhood. Great pick. Thank you to voice Joshua Joseph. Number two pick, Ron.
Fantastic pick, great pick. For my number two, I went with, and I'm going back to 2020 again. I think everyone can tell where I'm going with this one. Although there was a few matches in 2020, so like you guys don't know. But real quick, before I go into my number two, you guys are watching Unpopular Review. We have in the top five. There's so much content here on Unpopular Review. We have a Monday show. We have two shows on Mondays, actually. We have a show on Tuesday night. It's for the NXT review. This guy right here, he has on Mondays. It's called the Wrestling Podcast with Big Daddy Cool. During Raw, Mike Knox, the Mike Knox Show at 6 p.m. is for the intelligent wrestling fans, so tune in. Wednesdays, we have an AEW show right after Dynamite. And on Thursday, I mean, I think it's great if I just plug this in right now because my pick fits in with what you're going to review later tonight, and that is Impact Wrestling. So, yes, right after Impact, if you guys like Impact, please tune into that as well. We might not have that, then I take that back.
Might be the fifth cancellation this week.
Yeah. I saw those numbers piling up. But my number two pick, the year is 2020 is WrestleMania, and we're all excited. Well, I don't know if everyone's excited, but AJ against Undertaker. Now, I'll sit here and say this: before this match was announced to be a cinematic match, just the idea of these two getting in the ring, I said, you know, Undertaker in the ring, he's not the same like he was years ago. But I said, if anyone could bring a good match out of him, because AJ, he's going to bump for him, he's going to do all these, he's going to make the Undertaker look like $1 million. Because I just think AJ is really good at what he does. But we don't get that. We get this cinematic match. I had fun with it. I thought it was the better of the two matches, cinematic matches that we had for that year's WrestleMania. This was night one. Undertaker main evented one last Mania before he rode off into the moon because there was no sun, so I can't say sunset, but he rode off into the moon. I laughed when he was in the not in the ring. I'm sorry, but He's on top of the roof, and when he threw off Luke Gallows off the roof, and then Tombstone Carl Anderson, I said, "This makes sense." Just seeing these two guys get laid out, and AJ taking that choke slam off the roof and being slammed. I just thought it was well produced. Honestly, I thought it was well done. Shout out to everybody on set who made that happen. I watched that Undertaker. I don't even know if we ever got a chance to review that Undertaker documentary, which was great. I forgot how many parts. I think it was like 7 parts. But this, 6. Okay, I was off by one number. I'm proud of myself. But when they showed the recording of this match, and he got hurt, and Undertaker got hurt, and they had to stop and re-record. I just thought the match was great. There's a lot of backstage stuff that I'm not including, but my number 2.
What's your number 1?
Oh, you want to just jump to number 1?
I have a feeling we should.
Why? What's your number 2?
I'll tell you in a minute.
My number 1, I feel like this is what really set off the cinematic matches personally. So for my number 1, I want to go with Final Deletion, brother versus brother. These guys had plenty of matches together, some good, some bad. Matt Hardy has officially lost his mind at this point. At this point in his career, as you can tell by the blonde streak in his. And what I like too is that the build up to it. Matt Hardy, they had a regular match. Jeff Hardy did something when I guess he fell on him, and then he said the electrical cords led to him bleaching that bleach, and then he became crazy. He had an accent. I still to this day don't know what accent that was. And I just think that was Matt Hardy at his best. I thought this match was fun. The thing with I forget what they call the drone that flies in the air, Vanguard, and you got Senior Benjamin, and I thought this was some really good stuff. And I honestly think this is what you said in 1999. Rock and Mankind, and that was years prior. But I feel like this was like the first cinematic match, like really cinematic match, and what kicked it off, and is what I think set off a trend. WWE tried to do that again with him and Bray Wyatt, and I don't think it hit the mark like this one. But that's my number 1, sir.
Yeah, number 2 and number 1, same thing here. And I had a feeling once you picked that for your number 2, that it was going to be number 1, which is why I said just go ahead and do it. So I can just piggyback because my number 2 is the Boneyard match, and my number 1 is Final Deletion. And I can tell you that Final Deletion was the reason. Final Deletion TNA was like, went up a little bit because eyes got on them because of that Final Deletion match and what Matt Hardy was doing. He was on another level at the time in WWE. That's what made WWE go out and get the Hardys, if you want to be real, in 2017. It's because they put so much eyes on them down there in Impact with the Final Deletion match and what everything Matt Hardy was doing. And Jeff Hardy saying, hey, I'm going to take a back seat for once to this because Matt Hardy, you are killing it.
Yeah.
Matt Hardy killed it so much in 2015-16 that he's still dead today because he doesn't want to let it go. He tried, but it's hard for him to let it go. He still wants to come out, delete. He still wants that popularity. It's not the same, but he still wants that popularity. He still wants that cake he had when he was broken Matt Hardy. When he came first, he was broken Matt Hardy again. It wasn't hitting. He was changing. He was woken Matt Hardy in WWE. Wasn't hitting.
Yeah, I think that's excuse me. When he went to I made a reference in this live. But when he came to WWE and he couldn't bring in the broken, I think that hurt his momentum because he couldn't come in broken, and then by the time he could have it, he's woken, and it's just not the same. And then, like you said, AEW, it's not working, and all these, it's really not the same. But he was really at his height, and something I will always give Matt Hardy, because Jeff Hardy gets a lot of flowers and deserves so. I mean, he's one of my faves, but Matt Hardy was always the more creative of the two.
Definitely, by far. Delete. They were everybody was on this. They don't do it as much anymore. But back in 2015 and 19, 16, delete. Everything was delete. So more power to that. The Boneyard match was my number 2, but I wanted to be my number 1 because I loved that match so much. I thought it was going to be garbage. I was not a fan of the match to begin with. Before the pandemic hit, I was not a fan because I thought it was supposed to be originally a what they call it, buried alive match. I still think that's what they were going to do before they had to change it up. Right. And I just didn't think I thought it might be one of Jacob's last matches, and I think AJ Styles should have been that man. I thought that if it is going to be his last match, it should have been Seth Rollins, in my opinion. And the only reason how come I say that is not only because I think Seth Rollins is just generation's closest thing you're going to have to Shawn Michaels. I'm not saying that he's not Seth freaking Rollins because he's Seth freaking Rollins to me. He's the first Seth freaking Rollins. I think he's earned that right. But as far as his in-ring skills and everything, I think he's as close to Shawn Michaels as we have for this generation. Not saying take anything away from AJ Styles. The man's a tremendous wrestler.
Right.
But during that time, Seth Rollins' gimmick as the Monday Night Messiah, I thought fit a more fitting match at the time with The Undertaker. I thought that's when Edge and AJ Styles should have. I wasn't a fan of Edge and Randy Orton, even though I get why they went that way. I thought it should have been Edge and AJ Styles at the time, especially after the Royal Rumble counter. But Seth Rollins' gimmick, I thought fit going up against The Undertaker. Now, that being said, these two went out there. They did their cinematic thing, and it was great. And the fact of the matter is, what I like most about the match is one of the reasons why I like Roman Reigns' match, and that's because it's not always just about the quality of the wrestling, the quality of the physics, the physicality of the match. It's the storytelling, his voice, what he's saying to him, what AJ's saying to Undertaker, what Undertaker's saying to AJ. What's my wife's name? What do you have to say now? What's going on? That made it interesting to me. I loved that match. I loved the ending. I loved the way everything set up. That meme you put up as your number 2, that is a picture that people still utilize today because you're celebrating and then you have the darkness behind you. You know what I'm saying? You're like, yes, I passed. The next bill, I got paid. The next bill is behind you. It's just how it is. And this match did it for me, and I will always appreciate this match. That's why it's my number 2. The reason how come it's not my number 1 because it should have been my number 1, but the reason why it's my number 1 because I do have to give respect to the original Final Deletion because without Final Deletion, I don't think any of these other matches possibly would have happened.
And and I think you worded so well because part of me did want to put that as number 1. Mm-hmm. I was like, and I'm not even like big in cinematic matches. Like I'm not gonna say, oh, this is my favorite thing, but this did kick off. Matter of fact, I forget which 2K it is, but there is a 2K where you're fighting on a farm, and I can't help but say, well, this stems from, I think it's 19, because something about Matt Hardy, and it's one of the 2Ks. My point is, it comes from this match. The Final Deletion is what kicked it off. So yeah, and I agree. Sometimes it's not even about the match; it's the story and what happens after. So, great points.
The reason why Roman Reigns' matches are always good and why Roman Reigns' matches are always feel big, and I'll say this before we leave because we're about to wrap it up, of course. But one of the things, despite what people hate about Roman Reigns, and trust me, and I said this the other day, I'm not a fan of Roman Reigns not defending the title that much either. I don't think he needs to defend it every week. I don't think he needs to defend it every other week. But the fact of the matter is, the SummerSlam match he had where he defended the title was his first first title match since WrestleMania. I think that's a little bit too long.
Right? That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a little bit too long, in my opinion. But one thing I will say is, if you go through this whole calendar year, when I mean calendar year, I'm talking about from January, actually since before that, but I'll say January all the way up until SummerSlam, every one of his matches had a big fight feel.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
Jey Uso. All of them had that big fight feel, and only one person can do that in this day and age because it's not MJF. No offense, MJF. I'm a fan, but no offense to you. Your Fatal 4-Way match and whatever pay-per-view it was did not feel like a big fight. Romans always feel like a big fight. If you watch the two of them, when they ring the bell, they have people cheering before they even lock horns. That is what Roman does because his storytelling in a match is spectacular. He knows how to egg on that crowd. And that is what I think final Boneyard match did. I think the story was very, very well done.
Absolutely. Concurred. And I think that commences our top 5.
I believe it does, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could do some cheap plugs real quick before we go home. I already mentioned all the wrestling shows. There's stuff on entertainment as well. There's a link to us there. We didn't put the graphic, but why don't you tell the people what you got going on for next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday is the final. I keep wanting to say Harry Potter, but it's not Harry Potter. It's the final. What do you call the thing?
Yeah. I had to think about it.
I was struggling. I don't know why. The final Hunger Games this coming Tuesday. Hunger Games Mockingjay 2 before we go into our next franchise, which is going to be Saw. And then, of course, next Thursday, we'll get back up on what our theme is for this month. And we're going to talk about Pacific Rim 2. Looking forward to that. Next Thursday, also on the wrestling side, we have the top 5 career-ending matches. Looking forward to that one, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to miss that one.
And if I could do a plug here, on Sunday, we are going to have, if you guys have an Instagram, you guys should tune in this Sunday at 8 p.m. We're going to have another UPR battle. It's me against Cedar Superior. I am not happy with these votes right about now, but Mr. Clean, you see these 4 individuals? You have Yakko, you have the Braun Towel Guy, Ronald McDonald, and Doodoo Bob. And your vote, whoever gets the most vote, will be battling Mr. Clean in a debate battle.
I don't understand who came up with those 4.
These were we picked 2 each, and all I can say is the guy with the flannel is what C picked, and and anyway, late tonight at 11 p.m. I'll be joining Shay Sawyer to review the challenge. It's usually her and Mike Knox, but Mike Knox will be taking the night off, so I'll fill in. Hopefully, I do a tremendous job like he does. So tune in at. Thank you. I know I will. I was just being humble, which is disgusting. Anyway, let's take us home, EC. That's all I got to plug.
Thank you so much for watching us here on Unpopular Review. Please make sure that you stay tuned to us on all our social medias as well as YouTube, Unpopular Review Wrestling, Unpopular Review Entertainment, Unpopular Review Gaming. We have it all for you right here at Unpopular Review. So for Bad Guy Jack, I'm the Exec Consultant. We will see you right here next time on UPR. Have a good night, everybody.
Boom.
Boom.